The little girl who could see what the Illuminati tried to erase. The city lay flat and quiet beside the wide gray river. From above, it looked ordinary, like many other cities built on old land and older rules. Roads crossed each other in neat lines. Screens glowed on towers. Drones moved in calm patterns through the air. Nothing about the city suggested that it was broken. Mira knew it was. She was 9 years old, small for her age, with dark hair that never stayed neat. Every morning she walked with her guardian, Elias, along the same street to the learning center. The street never changed for anyone else. For Mira, it never stayed the same. Some days the buildings leaned slightly inward, as if listening. Other days the windows reflected scenes that did not exist behind her. Once, a wall turned transparent for a second, and she saw people standing in a room that should not have been there, all frozen. Their faces blurred like unfinished drawings. Mira stopped walking. Elias noticed after a few steps. He turned and sighed, already tired. "Mira, we will be late." She pointed at a public screen across the street. It showed a smiling presenter talking about energy use. Behind the presenter, the city skyline shimmered.
"It's wrong again," Mira said. Elias followed her finger.
"It looks fine. The tower is missing," she said. "The thin one? It should be there." "There was never a tower there," Elias said gently.
Mira frowned.
"There was. Yesterday. And before that. And before that." Elias rubbed his face. He loved her, but these moments scared him. Doctors said she was healthy. Teachers said she was too imaginative. Doctors said she was too imaginative. He told himself she was just different. As they walked, the screen flickered. For half a second, the smiling presenter vanished. In his place was a black symbol, sharp and ugly, like broken glass shaped into an eye. Mira saw it clearly. Elias did not. By the time they reached the learning center, Mira's head hurt. The noise inside her mind grew louder each day. It was not voices. It was more like pressure, like something pushing against a wall that had been built inside her head. She sat at her desk while the instructor spoke about history. The screen showed clean timelines and smooth images. Humanity rising slowly. Wars ending. Peace settling in. Order.
Mira raised her hand. "Yes, Mira," the instructor said.
"Why is there nothing before the first expansion?" Mira asked. The room went quiet. The instructor smiled, but it was tight. "Because that is when space travel began."
"But there are gaps," Mira said.
"Big ones. Whole years missing." "People missing. That is enough," the instructor said quickly. "Focus on the lesson." Mira lowered her hand. On the screen, the timeline shimmered. She blinked, and for a moment she saw something else layered beneath it. Ships that did not match the design. Symbols scratched out. A war marker that faded as soon as she noticed it. That night, Mira could not sleep. She lay on her bed and stared at the ceiling. Lines of light ran through it, forming shapes that shifted when she tried to focus. She closed her eyes, but that made it worse. Images poured in, stars arranged in patterns she had never learned. Worlds burning, people standing together, shouting in defiance at something vast and cold. She sat up, gasping. On a small desk beside her bed was her drawing pad. She did not remember taking it out. Her hand moved before she decided to pick up the pen. She drew lines, curves, points of light. When she finished, she felt empty, like the pressure had eased. She looked down. It was a star map. Not one she had seen before. The shapes felt familiar, like a memory from before she was born. The next morning, Elias found the drawing. He stared at it for a long time. "Where did you see this?" he asked. Mira shrugged. "I didn't see it. I just knew it." Elias swallowed. He worked as a maintenance analyst for city systems. He knew maps, he knew networks. He had never seen anything like this. Later that day, far from the city, a silent room came alive. Figures sat around a circular table, their faces hidden behind shifting light masks.
No names were spoken here. No records kept.
A symbol glowed above the table, the same sharp eye Mira had seen. "An anomaly has appeared," one figure said. "Neural activity beyond acceptable limits." "Location?" another asked. The city appeared in the air. "A child," the first said. "She sees inconsistencies." "That is impossible," a third voice said. "The filters are absolute." "They were," the first replied. "Until now." A screen filled with data, brain scans, pattern spikes. "She is not remembering," one figure said slowly. "She is perceiving." Silence followed. "Begin observation," the leader said. "No action yet." Back in the city, Mira's world continued to slip. On her walk home, the streetlights blinked out in sequence, spelling shapes only she understood. A drone passed overhead, and for a moment she saw through its casing, into layers of code folding in on themselves. She stopped near the river.
"What's wrong?" Elias asked. "There's something under the water," she said.
"There's always something underwater," Elias said, forcing a smile. "No," Mira said. "Not fish. Not rocks."
A door. Elias laughed, uneasy.
"That's impossible." Mira stepped closer to the edge. The river shimmered.
For a heartbeat, the surface peeled back like a curtain. She saw metal, dark and smooth, a massive structure buried deep, covered in symbols that burned into her eyes. She screamed. The water closed. People nearby stared. People nearby stared. Elias pulled her away, heart pounding. That night, cameras across the city adjusted their angles without command. Satellites changed position by fractions of a degree. In the silent room, alarms pulsed softly. "The anomaly is increasing," a voice said. "She is accelerating," another said. "Prepare contingencies," the leader replied. Mira dreamed of fire. She stood on a hill beneath a red sky. Around her were people she did not know, yet felt she loved. They stood shoulder to shoulder, tired but unbroken. Above them, the stars went dark one by one. She woke with tears on her face. In the morning, Elias called in sick to work. He could not ignore this anymore. They stayed home. He tried to distract her with food, with old stories, with laughter. It almost worked. Then the power went out, not just their home. The whole block fell silent. Through the window, Mira saw people step outside, confused. Screens went black. Drones froze in the air and dropped. The sky flickered. For one terrible second, everyone saw it. The city peeled back like a false image. Towers vanished, replaced by older structures. Symbols burned across the sky. A giant eye stared down at them, cracked and bleeding light. Then it was gone. Power returned. Power. Noise returned. People stood frozen, unsure of what they had seen.
Mira looked at Elias.
"They're trying to hide," she said softly. "Hide? What?" Elias asked, voice shaking. "Us," she said. Far above the planet, something ancient shifted. responding to a signal it had not heard in a very long time. In the silent room, every figure stood.
She broadcast, someone whispered.
No.
The leader said.
She didn't mean to. The eye symbol fractured on the screen. For the first time, the leader said, the erasure failed. And in her small room, Mira picked up her pen again, feeling the pressure return, stronger than ever. The morning after the city blackout, Mira felt different. It was as if the world had left a secret open just for her. She walked with Elias along the street, but now every shadow seemed alive. The people moved as if part of a pattern she could read. Their faces sometimes flickered, revealing memories that did not belong to them. Elias noticed her stare and tried to calm her.
Mira, look at me. It is just a power glitch.
Nothing else. Mira shook her head. No, Elias, it is not just a glitch. Something wants to hide everything from us. From me. Elias tightened his grip on her hand, feeling the coldness of fear. He had tried to ignore her visions, but now he could see why they could not be denied. There was a pattern to the city's silence, a rhythm beneath the chaos. Later, Mira drew another map. This time it was not of stars, but of the city itself. Lines, tunnels, and doors that did not exist on any official plan spread across the page. Mira traced them carefully with her small fingers. The tunnels connected buildings, streets, and underground chambers. Some ended in dead space. Some glowed faintly in her imagination. She knew, somehow, that they were real. Elias looked over the drawing. I do not understand. These are places no one has ever built. They were built, Mira whispered, but someone erased them. Elias's eyes widened.
Erased? Not destroyed, Mira said. Erased.
Like a word taken out of a book. That evening, a man approached them. He was tall, wore a gray coat, and moved with careful steps.
Are you Mira? He asked. Mira clutched Elias's hand. Who wants to know? My name is Rowan. I know about what you can see.
I have been trying to find you, Elias frowned. Find her for what? Rowan looked around, then crouched to Mira's level. There are people, secret people, who erased the truth. You can see what they tried to hide. I can help you. Mira studied him. There was no lie in his eyes, no fear, just knowledge and a strange calm. Why me? Rowan sighed. Because you are the only one who can see what was taken away. Everyone else remembers only what they are allowed to.
You remember what they tried to erase. Elias shook his head.
This is madness. Rowan smiled faintly. It sounds like it, but it is the truth. You are a spark that they could not kill, and now they know you exist. Mira felt a chill run down her spine. She remembered the black eye symbol in the city sky, and the way buildings had flickered and shifted. They are watching us? Rowan nodded. Yes, they will try to stop you, but I can teach you to move unseen, to read the world the way it really is. Elias's hands tightened into fists. I will not let anyone take her. Rowan looked at him kindly. You will not have to. Not if you follow me. That night, Mira lay awake, listening to the wind. Her mind was full of images. Wars she had not learned about. Cities built and destroyed. People who had stood against something vast and powerful, only to have their stories wiped away. She had never known it, but somehow it felt like her own memory. The next day, Rowan took them to an abandoned warehouse outside the city. Inside, lights flickered on automatically, revealing walls lined with screens and devices that hummed quietly. Old machines recorded information that should have been lost. Data streams ran like rivers across the walls. "This is where we hide the truth," Rowan said, "and where you will learn to see it clearly." Mira walked slowly, absorbing everything. The machines showed fragments of erased history, battles, peaceful gatherings, discoveries, and disasters that no textbooks mentioned. Her eyes widened as she saw glimpses of human explorers in distant worlds, long before official records claimed they were ready. There were faces that looked familiar, though she had never met them. Faces that seemed to smile at her in recognition. Elias watched, torn between awe and fear. "How can all of this have been hidden?" Rowan said nothing. He turned to Mira. "Look at the patterns, not just the events. Look at what was erased." Mira leaned closer. Her mind was fast, catching details she could not explain. Lines of missing time, spaces where knowledge had been intentionally removed. The machines revealed connections between events that were thought unrelated. Humans had once reached the stars, made contact with other species, and built alliances that vanished from memory. She traced one line with her finger, and suddenly an image filled her mind. A council of masked figures deciding the fate of humanity. They spoke in words she did not understand, but their intent was clear. They erased the records to control the future. Mira gasped. "They wanted to make us small, not let us grow." Rowan nodded. They were afraid of what humans could become. They did not want a species that remembers its power. Elias shook his head. "This is impossible."
We are just people. We cannot fight something like that.
Rowan looked at him sharply. "They already tried. That is why we are hidden here. But you, Mira, can see through their work. That is why they will come for you." The machines hummed louder, reacting to Mira's presence. She felt a pressure on her mind again, images and memories flowing faster than she could process. She closed her eyes, gripping the edge of a console. Rowan stepped closer.
Breathe. Do not fight it.
Let it flow. She did. And then she saw it clearly. The timeline that had been erased, humanity's expansion, the wars against other species, the knowledge they had accumulated and then lost. She could see every hidden layer, every decision that had been covered up. And in the center of it all, she saw the spark. People standing against the council, refusing to be erased. Elias stared at her face. "Mira, what is it?" She looked at him, eyes wide. "We are not alone, and we never were." Rowan smiled faintly. "Now you understand why you must learn. They will come to erase this knowledge from you, just as they erased it from history. But if you learn fast, you can keep it alive." Mira nodded, feeling a strange strength. The pressure in her head was still there, but it was no longer frightening. It was purpose. For days she trained under Rowan. She learned to see the hidden structures beneath reality. Buildings that had been removed from records reappeared in her vision. Streets that had never existed became paths she could walk, and she learned to sense the presence of the Council's agents before they arrived, like shadows moving through the world. One afternoon, while they practiced in the warehouse, a sound echoed outside, a low hum, almost like the world holding its breath. Mira froze. Rowan's eyes narrowed. "They are here." Elias grabbed her hand. "What do we do?" Rowan stepped toward the door.
We wait and we see.
The door opened without a touch. 3 figures entered, faces hidden behind sleek helmets. They moved silently, like predators. Mira's heart pounded. She could see the lines of their path, the way their technology hid them from ordinary vision. She whispered to Rowan, "I can see them." He nodded.
Good. Stay calm.
They cannot erase what you can see if you do not show fear. Mira focused. She traced the hidden lines in her mind. The agents moved along the street as if they were alone, unaware that she knew every step they took. She saw the faint shimmer of their devices, the invisible nets they used to detect anomalies. Then she saw something worse. One of them carried a device meant to disrupt perception. If it activated, she would lose everything she could see, and the truth would vanish from her mind. She grabbed Elias. "We have to move, now." Rowan moved to block the agent's path. "Go. I will delay them." Mira and Elias ran into the tunnels she had drawn earlier. The warehouse faded behind them, and the city above looked ordinary again. But Mira knew it was not. She could feel the erased layers beneath her feet, guiding her steps. They emerged in an old subway station, long abandoned. The air smelled of rust and water, but it felt safe. Mira paused, breathing hard. She traced the walls with her hands, feeling the hidden structure as if it were alive. "We cannot stop now," she said. "They will come back." Elias looked at her, torn between fear and wonder.
"Mira, what are you? How can a child see what no one else can?"
She smiled faintly, despite the tension. "I am the memory they tried to erase, and now we have to remember everything." Far above, the silent council watched. Their screens showed empty streets. Their instruments recorded only normal activity. But in one small corner, neural activity spiked. Impossible to erase. "She is growing stronger," a voice said. "We may have underestimated the child." The leader leaned back. "Then we must act quickly. Humanity cannot be allowed to awaken." Below, Mira traced the hidden map with her mind, feeling the threads of erased history. She did not yet know all the answers, but she knew one thing clearly. The world had been stolen from her, and she would not let it stay that way. The tunnels beneath the city were dark, damp, and full of whispers that only Mira could hear. She walked carefully, feeling the lines of erased paths beneath her feet. Each step made the hum in her head stronger, almost like the city itself was speaking to her. Elias followed closely, clutching her hand, while Rowan moved ahead, guiding them through passages that had been hidden from the world above. Mira's mind raced. Every day she learned something new. She could see layers of the city that no one else knew existed. Doors that led nowhere in the official records opened to long-forgotten chambers. Streets, erased from maps, stretched before her in secret. And every step brought her closer to understanding why the world had been rewritten.
"They erased so much," Mira whispered.
Not just history, but people, memories, places. Rowan nodded. It was meant to make humanity small, to forget its power, to forget what it could do. Elias shivered, and now we know. But how do we fight something that can erase the past? Mira did not answer. She was too focused on the visions pressing against her mind. She could see glimpses of people she had never met, explorers, scientists, soldiers, and families. They had built worlds beyond Earth, reached stars no one remembered, and yet all traces of them had been wiped away. They had been erased for trying to be too much. Suddenly, the hum in her mind sharpened. She stopped walking. The walls around them flickered for a moment, as if responding to her thoughts. "Something is here," she whispered. Rowan crouched beside her. Stay calm. See it clearly. Do not panic. The darkness around them faded, replaced by layers of hidden reality. In one layer, she saw shadows moving along the walls, agents sent to stop her. In another, she saw the city above, calm and unaware, while the hidden paths below twisted like a secret web. And in a third layer, she saw the people of the past, standing together, waiting for someone to remember them.
They are trying to trap us, Rowan said quietly. We have to move now.
Mira led the way, following the lines that only she could see. Mom?
The tunnels twisted and turned, opening into hidden chambers and long-forgotten rooms. Some rooms contained artifacts, machines, and records that had been erased from all official memory. Mira traced her fingers over the surfaces, feeling the energy and history that pulsed through them. They entered a room filled with screens and devices that hummed quietly. Images flickered on the screens, showing events erased from history. Battles in space, cities on distant planets, and people standing against powerful enemies. Mira felt the pressure in her mind grow stronger as she absorbed the information. These people, she whispered, they were like us. They wanted to see, to learn, to grow. And they paid for it. Rowan nodded. And now, you are carrying their memory. That is why they will come for you. Elias's hands trembled. I don't understand how a child can hold all this. It is too much. Mira looked at him. I am the memory they tried to erase, and I can see what they cannot hide. For days, they moved through the hidden chambers, learning, absorbing, and tracing the erased paths of the city. Mira's visions became stronger, more vivid. She could see the history of humanity before the erasure, the exploration of new worlds, alliances with other species, and conflicts with powerful enemies. She could see the sacrifices people had made to stand against forces that sought to control them. One evening, as they rested in a hidden chamber, Mira traced a line on the floor that led to an area she had never seen before. It was not on any map, official or hidden. She felt a pull, a sense of importance that she could not explain. There is something here, she said softly. Something we need to find. Rowan studied the line. It is risky. The closer you get, the stronger their forces will be. But we cannot ignore it. Whatever it is part of what was erased. The next day, they moved carefully through the tunnels. Mira led the way, her mind connecting paths that no one else could see. She felt the presence of the agents searching for them, their devices scanning for anomalies. She guided Elias and Rowan through hidden doors, tunnels, and forgotten chambers, keeping them out of sight. Finally, they reached an underground chamber filled with old technology and records. Mira's eyes widened. The chamber was vast, stretching further than the city above. Screens and machines hummed quietly, displaying erased knowledge and hidden history. This is incredible, Elias whispered. How can all of this have been hidden? Mira traced her fingers over the surfaces, feeling the energy and memory that flowed through them. She saw the people of the past, standing together, fighting to preserve knowledge and truth. She saw the sacrifices they had made, and she felt their hope and determination. They tried to hide everything, she said softly, but they could not hide us all. We are still here, in memory, in truth. Rowan nodded. And now, you are the key. You can see what they cannot erase. You can remember what was taken from humanity. Elias looked at her, pride and fear in his eyes. Then we will follow you, Mira, no matter what comes. Mira smiled faintly. We are not alone. We never were. And now we will make sure they cannot erase us again. Outside, the city continued its normal life, unaware of the hidden history beneath its streets. But in the silent rooms where the council watched, alarms blinked and screens filled with warnings. The child had seen what they tried to hide. She had begun to remember. And humanity's memory was waking again. The council members moved quickly, discussing strategies and contingencies. She is accelerating, one voice said. We underestimated her. She must be stopped, another said. If she spreads this knowledge, we lose control. But Mira and her small group moved faster than they could anticipate. She could see the paths they would take before they took them. She could sense their presence, their devices, and their attempts to hide. Every day, Mira learned more. Every day, the erased history became clearer in her mind. And every day, the council grew more desperate. One night, Mira traced a path leading out of the city to a place she had never been. The hum in her mind pulsed with urgency. We have to go, she said. Something important is waiting. Rowan nodded. Then we move. Carefully and quickly. They emerged through hidden passages, the city above, unaware of the movement beneath its streets. Mira led them through secret tunnels, over forgotten bridges, and into chambers erased from memory. She could feel the importance of the place she was heading to, though she did not yet know why. Finally, they reached a massive chamber unlike anything Mira had seen. It was filled with machines, screens, and objects that hummed with power. Symbols she did not recognize glowed faintly on the walls. She stepped forward, feeling the hum in her mind intensify. This place, she whispered. It was meant to be forgotten, but it cannot be. Not now. Elias looked around, awe and fear in his eyes. What is this place? Rowan shook his head.
We do not know yet, but whatever it is part of what they erased from history.
And now it is waiting for her. Mira approached a central console, her fingers tracing the symbols and patterns. She felt the energy of the past, the presence of those who had been erased, and the weight of knowledge that had been hidden for centuries. Suddenly, a screen lit up. Faces appeared, not human, not completely, yet familiar. They spoke in a language Mira did not know, yet she understood the meaning. They had been waiting, hoping someone would remember them. They trusted us, Mira said softly. They trusted us to remember. Rowan nodded. And now you will. But be careful. The council will not allow this knowledge to survive. Elias held her hand tightly. We will protect you, Mira, no matter what. The hum in Mira's mind grew stronger. She could see the lines of erased history stretching across time and space. She could see humanity standing against impossible odds, reaching for the stars, and building worlds that had been forgotten. And she knew, deep in her heart, that they had not failed. They had survived in memory, in hope, and now in her. Outside, the city slept, but beneath the streets, hidden from the world, a child remembered everything. And the future, once erased, was beginning to awaken. The hidden chamber beneath the city hummed with energy, as if it had been waiting for Mira to arrive. The screens flickered, showing images of erased worlds and forgotten people. She stepped forward, her small hand reaching for a central console, feeling the pulse of history running through it. Elias and Rowan followed, their eyes wide with awe and fear. Mira's mind was full of visions. She could see humanity before the erasure, people building ships that sailed to distant stars, cities shining on planets long forgotten. and alliances formed with species no human record mentioned. She could see wars fought, victories won, and losses that had been erased from every book, every memory. They wanted to hide all of this, she whispered. They wanted to make us small. Rowan nodded. They feared what humans could become. That is why they created the archivists, to erase, to control, to make sure no one remembers the truth.
And they almost succeeded. Mira traced lines on the floor of the chamber, connecting points on the screens. The energy in her mind grew, stronger than ever.
She could see the threads of erased history stretching across time and space. The more she saw, the more she understood why humanity had been hidden from the galaxy. Humans had stood against powers far greater than themselves, and for that, their story had been wiped away. Suddenly, a section of the floor lit up. Mira stepped closer and saw a doorway appear, one that had never existed before. Symbols glowed faintly around it, shifting and moving as if alive.
This is something new, Rowan said. We do not know what is behind that door.
Be careful. Mira felt a pull, a sense of importance that she could not explain. She stepped through the doorway first, Elias following close behind, and Rowan moving cautiously at the rear. The room beyond was vast, filled with machines and devices that hummed with a power she could feel in her chest. Screens showed scenes from human history, erased from all records. Explorers on distant planets, cities thriving, and people standing against impossible odds. Mira's eyes widened.
They tried to hide all of this, she whispered. But it is still here. Rowan nodded.
And now you can see it. You can remember it.
That is why they will try to stop us. Elias looked around in awe.
How can anyone erase something like this? Mira did not answer. Her mind was full of images, people, and places. She saw the wars humans had fought, not for conquest, but to protect knowledge and freedom. She saw the alliances they had formed with other species, the discoveries they had made, and the sacrifices they had given. And she felt a deep connection to all of it, as if the memory of humanity flowed through her. Suddenly the screens shifted, showing the faces of the archivists, masked and watching. They had detected the awakening, the spark that was Mira. Their eyes were hidden, but their intent was clear: to erase her before she could remember more. They know we are here, Rowan said quietly. We have to move quickly. Mira focused, feeling the erased layers of the city and the hidden paths beneath. She traced a route that led to another hidden chamber, one that had been protected even from the archivists. The walls shimmered, revealing a map of forgotten worlds, cities, and battles. It was a history that no one else could see, a story that had been waiting for someone to remember. As they moved, Mira's visions grew stronger. She could see the people of the past, standing together, resisting the forces that sought to erase them. She could feel their hope, their courage, and their determination. And she understood that they had trusted her to carry their memory, to make sure it survived. They reached a room filled with artifacts, tools, devices, and books that had been erased from all records. Mira ran her fingers over them, feeling the energy and knowledge that pulsed through each item. She could see the hands of the people who had created them, their intent and purpose, and she understood the sacrifices they had made to preserve this knowledge. This is what they tried to hide, she said softly. This is the truth they wanted erased. Rowan nodded. And now it is ours to protect. But we must be careful. The archivists will not give up. Elias looked around, fear and awe in his eyes. How can one child carry all of this? It is too much. Mira smiled faintly. I am not just a child. I am the memory they tried to erase, and I can see what they cannot hide. For days they studied the hidden chambers, learning, remembering, and tracing the erased paths of history. Mira's visions became clearer and stronger. She could see humanity standing against impossible odds, building worlds, and reaching for the stars. She could see the sacrifices people had made to preserve knowledge and freedom, and she felt their presence guiding her, giving her strength. One night, as they rested in a hidden chamber, Mira traced a line on the floor leading to a place she had never seen. The hum in her mind pulsed with urgency. "We have to go," she said. "Something important is waiting." Rowan nodded. "Then we move." Carefully and quickly, they moved through hidden passages, tunnels, and forgotten chambers, guided by Mira's visions. The archivists were aware of their movement, but Mira could see their devices, their paths, and their attempts to block them. She led Elias and Rowan through hidden doors, tunnels, and erased streets, keeping them safe. Finally, they reached a massive chamber unlike anything Mira had seen. It was filled with machines, screens, and artifacts that pulsed with energy. Symbols glowed faintly on the walls, shifting and moving as if alive. Mira stepped forward, feeling the pulse of history running through her. "This place," she whispered, "was meant to be forgotten, but it cannot be. Not now." Elias looked around, awe and fear in his eyes. "What is this place?" Rowan shook his head. "We do not know yet, but whatever it is part of what was erased from history, and now it is waiting for her." Mira approached a central console, tracing the symbols and patterns. She felt the energy of the past, the presence of those who had been erased, and the weight of knowledge hidden for centuries. The screens lit up, showing images of humanity before the erasure, explorers, cities, alliances, and battles. Faces of people long forgotten stared at her, their eyes full of hope and warning. "They trusted us," Mira said softly. "They trusted us to remember." Rowan nodded. "And now you will." But be careful. The archivists will not allow this knowledge to survive. Elias held her hand tightly. "We will protect you, Mira, no matter what." The hum in Mira's mind grew stronger. She could see the lines of erased history stretching across time and space. She could see humanity standing against impossible odds, reaching for the stars, and building worlds that had been forgotten, and she knew, deep in her heart, that they had not failed. They had survived in memory, in hope, and now in her. Outside, the city slept, but beneath the streets, hidden from the world, a child remembered everything, and the future, once erased, was beginning to awaken. Mira woke to a strange quiet. The city above was normal, but below, in the hidden tunnels, the hum in her mind was louder than ever. She could feel the erased lines of the world stretching out before her, connecting places and events that no one remembered. Elias stirred beside her, and Rowan watched the passage ahead, alert for any movement. Mira touched the walls, feeling the hidden energy pulsing through the tunnels. Each surface held memories, fragments of the history erased from human knowledge. She could see flashes of humans reaching the stars, meeting other species, building cities, and fighting wars that no one in the world remembered. She could feel their hope, their courage, and their determination. "They erased all of this," she whispered. "But it is still here in memory." Rowan nodded. "And now you can carry it forward. That is why they are coming for you. The archivists cannot allow this knowledge to survive."
Elias looked at her with worry.
"Mira, How can one child hold all of this? It is too much. Mira smiled faintly. I am not alone. I have you, Rowan, and the memory of everyone they tried to erase. That is enough. They moved carefully through the tunnels, following the paths Mira could see. The hidden layers of the city responded to her presence, doors opening where none existed, passages appearing from thin air. The archivist's agents were nearby, scanning for anomalies, but Mira could see their devices, their movements, and avoid them. Hours passed as they navigated the forgotten city beneath the city. Mira's mind was full of images, knowledge, and energy. She could see the people of the past standing together, resisting the forces that sought to erase them. She could feel their trust and hope, and it gave her strength. Finally, they reached a large underground chamber filled with machines and screens. The devices hummed with energy, showing erased events and hidden knowledge. Mira traced her fingers over the surfaces, feeling the presence of the people who had created them, and the intent to preserve the memory of humanity. This is incredible, Elias whispered. How could they hide all of this? Mira focused on the screens, seeing the history of humanity before the erasure. Wars fought for knowledge, discoveries made in distant worlds, alliances with other species, and sacrifices that had been erased from all memory. She felt the lives of the people who had been erased flowing into her mind, and she knew she had to remember everything. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Mira froze. She could sense it immediately. The archivists had found them. Their presence was near, and their devices pulsed with energy meant to disrupt perception. Get ready, Rowan whispered. They will try to erase everything here. We must move quickly. Mira focused, tracing the lines of the hidden chamber and the tunnels beyond. She could see the paths the agents would take, the devices they would use, and the traps they had set. She led Elias and Rowan through hidden passages, tunnels, and erased chambers, staying one step ahead. As they moved, Mira's mind grew stronger. She could see the threads of erased history stretching across the world, connecting cities, people, and events. She could see humanity standing against impossible odds, building worlds, and reaching for the stars. She could see the sacrifices people had made to protect knowledge and freedom. They reached another hidden chamber filled with artifacts, tools, and records erased from all official memory. Mira ran her fingers over the surfaces, feeling the energy and knowledge that pulsed through each item. She could see the hands of the people who had created them, their intent and purpose, and she understood the sacrifices they had made to preserve this knowledge.
This is what they tried to hide, she said softly.
This is the truth they wanted erased. Rowan nodded. And now it is ours to protect. But we must be careful. The archivist will not give up. Elias looked at her, fear and pride in his eyes. How can one child carry all of this? Mira smiled. I am the memory they tried to erase, and I can see what they cannot hide. Suddenly, a device in the chamber activated. A pulse of energy spread through the room, designed to erase perception and memory. Mira felt it hitting her mind, but she focused, tracing the hidden lines of the chamber and blocking the pulse with her vision. Elias and Rowan followed her lead, moving with her through the erased paths that only she could see. The pulse dissipated, and Mira breathed deeply. They cannot stop us if we remember, she said. Memory is stronger than erasure. They continued through the hidden chambers, learning, remembering, and tracing the erased history. But Mira's visions became clearer. She could see humanity standing against impossible odds, reaching for the stars, building cities, and making alliances. She could see the sacrifices people had made to preserve knowledge and freedom. And she felt their presence guiding her, giving her strength. One night, Mira traced a line leading out of the city to a place she had never been. The hum in her mind pulsed with urgency. "We have to go," she said. "Something important is waiting." Rowan nodded. "Then we move." Carefully and quickly, they emerged through hidden passages, the city above, unaware of their movement. Mira led them through secret tunnels, over forgotten bridges, and into chambers erased from memory. She could feel the importance of the place she was heading to, though she did not yet know why. Finally, they reached a massive chamber, unlike anything Mira had seen. It was filled with machines, screens, and artifacts that pulsed with energy. Symbols glowed faintly on the walls, shifting and moving as if alive. Mira stepped forward, feeling the pulse of history running through her. "This place," she whispered, "was meant to be forgotten. But it cannot be." "Not now." Elias looked around, awe and fear in his eyes.
What is this place?
Rowan shook his head. "We do not know yet. But whatever it is part of what was erased from history. And now, it is waiting for her." Mira approached a central console, tracing the symbols and patterns. She felt the energy of the past, the presence of those who had been erased, and the weight of knowledge hidden for centuries. The screens lit up, showing images of humanity before the erasure. Explorers, cities, alliances, and battles. Faces of people long forgotten stared at her, their eyes full of hope and warning. "They trusted us," Mira said softly. "They trusted us to remember." Rowan nodded. "And now you will. But be careful. The archivists will not allow this knowledge to survive." Elias held her hand tightly. "We will protect you, Mira. No matter what." The hum in Mira's mind grew stronger. She could see the lines of erased history stretching across time and space. She could see humanity standing against impossible odds, reaching for the stars, and building worlds that had been forgotten. And she knew deep in her heart that they had not failed. They had survived in memory, in hope, and now in her. Outside, the city slept, but beneath the streets, hidden from the world, a child remembered everything. And the future, once erased, was beginning to awaken. Mira felt the weight of the erased history pressing in on her mind as she stood in the vast chamber. The energy hummed around her, alive and almost breathing. She could see the lines of time that had been hidden, the stories of humanity stretching across the stars, now pulsing like threads only she could follow. Elias and Rowan stood beside her, their eyes wide with awe and fear, sensing that something monumental was about to happen. The screens flickered, showing images of worlds that no one above had ever known. Cities with towers of shining metal, forests glowing under alien suns, people reaching for the stars with hope and courage. Mira traced them with her fingers, feeling the memories of those who had lived and fought, erased from history but preserved in her mind. Every pulse of energy strengthened her, connected her to those who had been lost. "They erased us," Mira whispered. "But they could not erase everything." Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. "No, Mira, they can hide the truth from most, but you remember. You carry the spark of humanity that cannot be destroyed." Elias looked at her, worry etched on his face. How can one child hold so much? It is too heavy. Mira shook her head gently. "It is not just me. I feel everyone who came before me. Their courage, their hope, their memories. And now, I can protect them." The archivists were close, their devices probing the chamber for anomalies. Their presence was heavy, cold, and precise. Mira's heart raced, but she focused, tracing the invisible lines in the room that would keep them safe.
They know we are here,
Rowan said quietly. We have little time. Mira led the way through the hidden passages she could see in her mind, doors opening where none had been, tunnels appearing as she imagined them. The archivist's pulses swept through the walls, searching, but Mira anticipated their movements and guided Elias and Rowan around them. Every step brought them deeper into the layers of erased history. Finally, they reached a chamber that shimmered with an almost unbearable energy. Machines and artifacts hummed with power, some pulsing with light that seemed alive. Mira approached a central console, tracing symbols and patterns that glowed under her touch. Images appeared showing humanity at its greatest, explorers on distant planets, cities thriving under alien suns, alliances with other species, and battles fought for freedom and knowledge. They trusted us to remember, Mira said softly. And now I understand why. Rowan nodded. This is the culmination of what was hidden. If the archivists destroy this, humanity loses its past forever. You are the keeper of the truth. Elias held her hand. Then we fight for it, together. Mira felt the pressure in her mind building, the hum growing louder, almost overwhelming. She closed her eyes, letting the memories flow through her. She saw every erased world, every hidden city, every person who had stood against the forces that sought to erase humanity. The knowledge and energy were overwhelming, but she could feel herself growing stronger, connected to everything and everyone. Suddenly, the archivists entered. Their sleek forms moved with silent precision, scanning the chamber. Mira could see their devices, the pulse of energy designed to erase memory, and she focused, weaving the hidden paths of the chamber in her mind to stay one step ahead. She moved Elias and Rowan, guiding them through the invisible doors and tunnels that only she could perceive. The agents activated a device that sent a pulse of erasure through the room. Mira felt it hit her mind, a cold wave that sought to wipe the memories she held. She focused, tracing the lines of the chamber and blocking the pulse with her vision. Energy surged through her, memories of the past, flowing faster, stronger, until the pulse dissipated harmlessly. They cannot stop us, she said firmly. Memory is stronger than erasure. The archivist paused, reassessing. Mira could see their confusion, their inability to comprehend that one child could hold the full weight of erased history. The chamber seemed to respond to her, doors and devices moving as if alive, protecting her and the knowledge she carried. Mira walked to the central console, placing her hands on it. Symbols glowed brighter under her touch. She felt the presence of those who had been erased, their hope, courage, and determination flowing into her. She understood that she was not just seeing history, she was living it, carrying it forward. Humanity's past, hidden and erased, was alive in her mind. Rowan and Elias watched in awe. She is becoming something more than we imagined, Rowan whispered. Suddenly, the chamber shifted. A hidden doorway opened, revealing a path Mira had never seen. She could feel the importance of the place, though she did not yet know why. She led the way, stepping into the corridor, feeling the hum of erased history guiding her steps. The path led them to a vast room filled with artifacts, machines, and records. Mira felt the energy of the place, alive with the memories of humans who had reached for the stars, fought wars for freedom, and preserved knowledge against impossible odds. She could see the lives of the erased, the sacrifices they had made, and the trust they had placed in anyone who could remember them.
They left this for us, Mira whispered.
To remember, to protect. Rowan nodded. And now it is in your hands. But be careful. The archivists will not allow this to survive if they can stop you. Elias looked at her, pride and fear in his eyes. We will protect you, Mira, no matter what comes. The hum in Mira's mind grew stronger, almost overwhelming. She closed her eyes and let the memories flow. Every erased city, every hidden world, every person who had stood against the archivist's power was alive in her mind. She could feel their courage, hope, and determination, and she knew she had to remember everything. Suddenly, the archivists launched a coordinated attack, attempting to erase the chamber and the knowledge it contained. Mira felt the waves of erasure, but she focused, weaving the paths of memory and hidden lines to protect the chamber. Elias and Rowan moved with her, following her lead through the invisible doors and tunnels only she could see. The pulse of erasure crashed against her mind, but she did not falter. She felt the memories of the erased people flowing into her, strengthening her, giving her clarity and power. The archivists could not comprehend that one child could hold the truth of humanity, that memory itself could resist erasure. Mira walked to the central console, placing her hands on it again. Symbols glowed brighter than ever, the hum in the chamber reaching a crescendo. She could see the full span of humanity's erased history: exploration, discovery, alliance, war, and sacrifice. She could see herself as part of it, the keeper of memory, the bridge between what had been lost and what could be remembered. The archivists hesitated, their devices unable to penetrate the protection of memory woven by Mira. The chamber seemed alive, responding to her will, shielding the knowledge from destruction. Mira smiled, feeling the weight of history flow through her, connecting past, present, and future. Elias held her hand tightly. "You are incredible," he whispered. "How can one child carry all this?" Mira looked at him. "I am not alone. I have you, Rowan, and the memory of everyone who came before."
That is enough. The archivists, realizing they could not erase the knowledge, retreated.
Mira felt the pulse of the chamber slow, the hum calming as the energy settled. The history of humanity, once erased, was alive in her mind, safe and preserved. Mira stepped back from the console, breathing deeply. She felt the connection to the erased people, the worlds, and the knowledge they had protected. She understood that she was the memory, the keeper of what had been hidden, and the guardian of what could never be forgotten. Rowan and Elias looked at her, awe and relief on their faces. "You did it," Rowan said softly.
You have preserved what they tried to erase. Mira smiled faintly. This is only the beginning.
"The world above must learn the truth. Humanity must remember itself." Outside, the city continued its normal life, unaware of the hidden history beneath its streets. But in the hidden chambers below, a child remembered everything: the erased worlds, the lost knowledge, the forgotten people. They were alive in her mind, preserved and protected. And in that quiet, beneath the sleeping city, humanity's memory began to awaken, carried by one little girl who could see what the Illuminati had tried to erase.